Deep within the southern reaches of Africa, the Luangwa Valley unfurls across eastern Zambia, a sprawling wilderness shaped by millennia of geological upheaval and the ceaseless rhythm of the seasons. This ancient rift valley, bordered by distant escarpments and carved by the meandering Luangwa River, is a land of striking contrasts, where survival hinges on the delicate balance between abundance and scarcity. Each year, the valley is utterly transformed by the arrival and retreat of the rains. The landscape oscillates between two extremes, the lush, almost overwhelming vitality of the wet season and the stark, unforgiving austerity of the dry. These seasonal shifts dictate every aspect of life, from the migration of herds to the strategies of predators. With the first heavy downpours, the Luangwa River surges beyond its banks, flooding the plains and saturating the earth. The valley is reborn in a riot of green. Emerald grasses shoot skyward, and ancient mapan and ebony trees erupt with new foliage. The air is thick with the scent of wet earth and blossoming acacias, while the river's swollen channels carve new paths through the landscape. Herds of impala, zebra and buffalo converge on the rejuvenated grasslands, their numbers swelling as they feast on the tender shoots. The savannah hums with life. Swarms of termites and butterflies rise from the soil. Dragonflies dart above the water, and bees flit between wildflowers, pollinating the next generation of plants. The chorus of insects is joined by the calls of weaver birds and the distant trumpeting of elephants. Shallow lagoons, replenished by the rains, become bustling nurseries. Crocodiles vigilantly guard their sandy nests along the banks, while hippos submerge themselves in cool waters, their young calves nestled close. Flocks of storks, herons and spoonbills gather at the water's edge, probing the mud for frogs and fish. Newborn antelope, still unsteady on their legs, take their first tentative steps under the watchful gaze of their mothers, while wild dogs and leopards prowl the periphery, alert to any sign of vulnerability. As the rains subside, the transformation is both swift and dramatic. The river, once a torrent, begins to shrink, its channels narrowing and leaving behind isolated pools. The lush grasslands, so recently vibrant, fade to gold and then to a brittle, sun-bleached brown. The air grows dry and heavy, carrying the scent of dust and the distant crackle of withering leaves. Waterholes dwindle, their muddy banks crowded with desperate animals. Each remaining pool becomes a stage for daily dramas. Zebra and kudu jostle for position, while wary buffalo keep a constant lookout for lurking predators. The sun, now unrelenting, bakes the earth into a mosaic of cracks, and the once mighty river is reduced to a series of disconnected puddles. Predators sharpen their senses, exploiting the vulnerability of the thirsty herds. Lions crouch in the tall, withered grass, their golden coats blending seamlessly with the parched landscape. Leopards slink through the shadows, and wild dogs coordinate silent ambushes. Elephants, driven by memory and instinct, dig deep into the dry riverbeds with their tusks, unearthing hidden pockets of water. Baboons, ever resourceful, forage for roots and tubers, their nimble fingers sifting through the dust for sustenance. Shade becomes a rare and precious commodity. Giraffes stretch their necks to pluck the last green leaves from the highest branches, while antelope and warthogs cluster beneath the sparse canopy, conserving energy and minimizing movement. The relentless sun saps strength from all, and only the most resilient endure. Survival demands ingenuity. Lions and hyenas adapt their hunting tactics, targeting weakened prey and scavenging every opportunity. Crocodiles, now stranded in shrinking pools, enter a state of torpor, conserving energy until the rains return. Many birds, unable to withstand the drought, embark on long migrations to distant wetlands, while others remain, eking out an existence on insects and seeds. Every encounter at the water's edge is fraught with tension and risk. Predators and prey are drawn together by necessity, their fates intertwined in a delicate dance of survival. A single misstep can mean the difference between life and death, as the struggle for water intensifies with each passing day. In the Luangwa Valley, every sunrise marks a new chapter in the ongoing negotiation between life and the elements. Here, resilience is not just a trait, but a necessity. Adaptation is written into the DNA of every creature, and the intricate web of ecological relationships is revealed in the smallest details, from the tracks in the dust to the calls echoing at dawn. This is the untamed heart of Africa, where the two faces of the valley, lush and desolate, nurturing and merciless, reveal nature's most profound secrets with every passing season. The Luangwa River, stretching nearly 700 kilometers, is the lifeblood of this vast wilderness. It carves a serpentine path through the heart of the savannah, its waters sculpting the land and nurturing a tapestry of life that depends on its seasonal rhythms. From the air, the river appears as a shimmering artery, threading through a patchwork of golden grasslands and emerald thickets, its banks teeming with movement and vitality. As the relentless sun climbs higher and the dry season tightens its grip, the river's flow diminishes. Water retreats, leaving behind a mosaic of cracked mud and isolated pools. The once lush banks become stark and exposed, the air heavy with dust and the promise of hardship. Life here is dictated by the river's generosity, or its scarcity. In these lean months, the Luangwa transforms into a beacon for all who dwell in its shadow. Herds of elephants, their skin caked with dust, march across the parched plains, guided by memory and instinct to the river's edge. Antelope and giraffes, wary and graceful, converge on the shrinking pools, their survival hinging on every drop of water and blade of green. Along the banks, a remarkable congregation unfolds. Elephants use their powerful trunks to dig deep into the mud, unearthing hidden reserves of moisture. Buffalo gather in formidable numbers, their sheer presence a shield against lurking threats. Antelope graze in tight clusters, their ears flicking at every sound, acutely aware that danger is never far away. In the dwindling pools, hippos crowd together, their massive bodies press side by side. The competition for space is fierce, and tempers flare as the water recedes. Nearby, crocodiles glide just beneath the surface, their ancient eyes fixed on the commotion, ever patient, ever watchful. Predators are drawn to this congregation of life. Lions, cloaked in the shadows of dense thickets, move with calculated precision, their golden eyes scanning for weakness. Leopards, masters of stealth, melt into the undergrowth, their presence betrayed only by the flick of a tail or the glint of a spotted coat in dappled light. Beneath the surface, Nile crocodiles lie in silent ambush. Perfectly adapted to the river's shifting moods, they wait motionless, blending seamlessly with the muddy banks. Their patience is legendary, sometimes waiting hours, even days, for the perfect opportunity to strike at the unwary. The riverbank becomes a stage for constant tension and drama. Prey and predator are forced into uneasy proximity, each moment charged with the possibility of sudden violence. The narrow strip of water is both sanctuary and battleground, where every creature must weigh risk against necessity. For the antelope, every approach to the water's edge is a test of nerve and vigilance. They scan the shadows, nostrils flaring, muscles tense for flight. The river offers life, but only to those who can navigate its dangers with caution and speed. As the first light of dawn gilds the river, or as dusk cloaks the land in deepening shadow, the Luangwa reveals its true character. It is a place of abundance and peril, a crucible where survival is earned each day. Here, the river is not merely a source of water, it is the architect of destiny, shaping the lives and fortunes of every creature that calls its banks home. As the dry season tightens its grip on the Luangwa Valley, the sun becomes an unrelenting force, baking the earth until every blade of grass curls and every shadow shrinks beneath its glare. The air shimmers with heat, and the once verdant plains are reduced to a tapestry of dust and brittle stems. Lagoons that once teemed with life now stand as hollow reminders of abundance lost. Their beds are etched with deep fissures, scattered with the sun-bleached bones of animals that succumbed to thirst and exhaustion in seasons past. Herds of elephants and antelope, driven by instinct and memory, converge on the shrinking waterholes. Their movements are restless, eyes wide and ears alert, as the boundaries of their world contract with every passing day. This year, the crisis is accelerated by the arrival of El Niño. Waterholes vanish in a matter of days, and the grasses, once lush and nourishing, collapse into brittle, colourless husks. Grazers grow gaunt, their ribs stark against sunken flanks as they search for nourishment in a landscape stripped bare. Wildebeest and zebra are compelled to move, embarking on arduous migrations across the dust-choked plains. Each step is a gamble, every mile a test of endurance, as they chase the faintest scent of moisture or the glimmer of green on the horizon. At the few remaining pools, the atmosphere is charged with tension. Elephants, buffalo and antelope jostle for precious space, their interactions fraught with unease. The competition for water is fierce, and the rules of coexistence are rewritten daily. For the youngest and weakest, the struggle is most acute. Calves and fawns lag behind, their energy sapped by hunger and thirst. Each faltering step leaves them more vulnerable to the relentless sun and the ever-watchful eyes of predators. Even the closest bonds are strained. Friends become rivals as every sip of water is contested. Dominance is asserted in subtle gestures and sudden standoffs as the social fabric of herds is tested by the daily fight for survival. Ingenuity becomes the currency of survival. Some antelope dig with their hooves for hidden roots, extracting the last vestiges of moisture from the parched earth. Predators, too, adapt, altering their hunting patterns, stalking weakened prey at the margins of the shrinking pools. Every approach to water is a calculated risk. Lions crouch in the tall withered grass, and crocodiles lie motionless in the muddy shallows, waiting for the desperate to let their guard down. The thirst that drives the herds forward also draws them into the jaws of danger. Only the most resourceful endure. Elephants use their tusks and trunks to dig deep into dry riverbeds, unearthing hidden springs. Lions conserve their energy, choosing their moments with precision, hunting only when the odds are in their favour. The landscape is reduced to its most elemental form. Skeletal trees claw at the sky. The earth is bare and cracked, and every creature is pared down to the essentials of survival. Each adaptation, each behaviour is a response to the relentless scarcity. In Luangwa, scarcity is not merely an obstacle, it is the crucible in which the wild's most extraordinary strategies are forged. Here, every day is a testament to resilience, ingenuity, and the unyielding will to survive. As the dry season deepens, the Luangwa's riverbanks become a crucible of survival, where the air shimmers with heat and the land contracts around the last remaining water. Here, every animal, no matter its size or strength, is drawn to the same shrinking lifeline, and the struggle for existence intensifies with each passing day. The riverbanks, once sprawling and lush, are now crowded arenas where the drama of life and death unfolds in real time. Buffalo herds, massive and imposing, dominate the waterholes with sheer force of numbers. Their presence is a living wall, deterring smaller species from approaching. Impalas and zebras, driven by thirst yet wary of confrontation, linger at the periphery. Muscles tense, eyes fixed on the buffalo, waiting for the briefest opportunity to dart in and drink. The tension is palpable. A single misstep or moment of distraction can mean the difference between quenching thirst and retreating empty-mouthed. The hierarchy is unspoken but absolute, enforced by the subtle cues and body language of each species. Towering above all, elephants stride with deliberate authority. Their trunks probe the parched earth, unearthing hidden water with practiced skill. As they dig, smaller animals gather nearby, hopeful for a share of the precious resource. Yet the elephant's dominance is never in question. A single trumpet blast or a sweeping gesture sends lesser creatures scattering, reinforcing the rigid social order that governs these gatherings. Their actions, though self-serving, inadvertently sustain the broader community, as the wells they create become oases for many. Amid the jostling and competition, a quieter form of coexistence emerges. Giraffes, serene and aloof, browse the treetops, their long necks granting access to a world untouched by others. They move with measured grace, plucking leaves from the highest branches, their vantage point offering a sweeping view of the savannah below. Their presence is both sentinel and participant, watchful eyes scanning for danger, their calm demeanour a stark contrast to the chaos at ground level. Below, impalas graze on the tender shoots and grasses that flourish in the shade of the trees. Their delicate muzzles sift through the undergrowth, exploiting a layer of the ecosystem untouched by the larger herbivores. This vertical stratification, giraffes above, impalas below, minimizes direct competition and allows both to thrive. Each species, by specializing in its own niche, reduces conflict and maximizes the use of available resources. The savannah's inhabitants are bound by a web of mutual dependence. A giraffe's elevated gaze sweeps the horizon, detecting movement long before it becomes a threat. Impalas, ever vigilant, rely on their acute hearing and the alarm calls of neighbours to sense danger. When one animal signals, the entire community responds. Herds bunch together, heads snap to attention, and a ripple of awareness spreads across the plain. This network of vigilance is a living alarm system, where the survival of each individual is intertwined with the senses of many. Along the Luangwa's banks, the boundaries between competition and cooperation blur. Territories overlap and resources are shared in a delicate balance shaped by necessity and instinct. Here, rivalry and alliance are two sides of the same coin, each animal navigating a complex landscape where survival depends not only on strength or cunning, but on the ability to coexist within the ever-shifting tapestry of life. The Luangwa River carves a lifeline through the parched savannah, its winding channels nurturing the world's densest congregation of hippos, an astonishing 25,000 strong. This is a domain where every inch of water is precious, And the struggle for existence is relentless, shaped by the river's unpredictable moods and the harsh African sun. As the dry season deepens, the river's embrace weakens. Pools shrink, mud thickens, and hippos are forced shoulder to shoulder in ever-diminishing refugees. The air is thick with tension. Massive bodies jostle and shove, each animal desperate to claim a sliver of cool water, a brief respite from the searing heat. Dominant bulls, driven by instinct and necessity, erupt into brutal combat. Their cavernous jaws gape wide, tusks flashing as they clash in thunderous battles that send shockwaves through the muddy pools. The victors secure the deepest, most coveted waters, while the vanquished are exiled to the fringes, exposed, isolated, and at the mercy of the elements and lurking predators. Amid this chaos, mothers become vigilant guardians. Calves, small and vulnerable, press close to their mother's flanks, shielded from the aggression of rival adults and the silent menace of crocodiles gliding beneath the surface. Every moment is a lesson in survival, every movement a calculated risk. Overcrowding brings its own dangers. The once clear pools turn opaque, choked with waste and silt. Disease festers in the stagnant water, weakening the herd and threatening the fragile balance of life. Riverbanks crumble under the weight of so many giants, reshaping the landscape and straining the ecosystem to its limits. When night falls, the river's guardians emerge from their muddy sanctuaries. Under the cover of darkness, hippos trek across open plains in search of fresh grazing. Each journey is fraught with peril. Lions and hyenas prowl the shadows, their senses attuned to the faintest sign of weakness. For the unwary or the frail, a single misstep can be fatal. Daylight brings no relief. In the crowded pools, aggression simmers just beneath the surface. The relentless sun beats down, sapping strength and patience alike. Every hippo must remain alert, balancing the need for rest with the ever-present threat of violence from neighbours or predators lurking nearby. As the dry season reaches its peak, the river's promise fades. Pools vanish, leaving only cracked earth and dust. The struggle intensifies. Hunger gnaws, thirst torments, and only the strongest endure. The weak and the young face a gauntlet of hardship, their fate uncertain in this unforgiving realm. In Luangwa, even the mightiest are humbled by the forces of nature. Here, every creature, predator and prey alike, must adapt, persevere, and fight for survival in a world where pressure is constant and only the resilient prevail. In the heart of the Luangwa Valley, the story of survival begins not with the mighty predators, but in the silent, fertile mud along the riverbanks. Here, beneath the surface, a hidden world pulses with life, forming the foundation of an intricate food web that sustains the entire ecosystem. Within this damp earth, insect larvae wriggle and tunnel, consuming decaying leaves and organic debris left behind by the last flood. Tiny fish, barely larger than a blade of grass, sift through the silt, searching for microscopic morsels. Crustaceans, delicate yet resilient, filter the sediment, extracting both nutrients and oxygen, their movements aerating the mud and enriching the soil for future plant growth. Above this microcosm, African jacanas step lightly across floating lily pads, their impossibly long toes distributing their weight so they barely ripple the water. With sharp eyes, they probe for insects and snails, often revealed by the lumbering hippos that churn the shallows. The hippos' massive bodies stir up the mud, flushing out hidden prey and creating feeding opportunities for the jacanas, a subtle partnership that exemplifies the interconnectedness of life here. In the clear, sunlit shallows, schools of small fish dart and weave, feasting on insect larvae and crustaceans. Larger fish, sleek and predatory, patrol these waters, ever alert for a chance to strike. Overhead, kingfishers hover with wings beating in a blur, then plunge with surgical precision to snatch their quarry. High above, the African fish-eagle circles, its keen vision scanning for the slightest ripple, a flash of silver betraying a fish near the surface. With a sudden dive, it seizes its prey in powerful talons, a masterful display of timing and skill. Beneath the water's surface, Nile crocodiles lie in wait, their ancient eyes just breaking the surface. Perfectly camouflaged, they remain motionless for hours, conserving energy until the moment is right. When an animal approaches to drink, or a fish strays too close, the crocodile explodes from the water with astonishing speed, jaws snapping shut with bone-crushing force. These apex predators are the silent sentinels of the river, shaping the behavior of every creature that comes to the water's edge. Away from the river, vast herds of wildebeest, antelope and zebra graze across the savannah. Their constant movement trims the grasses and shapes the landscape, converting the sun's energy captured by plants into muscle and bone. In the tall grass, lions crouch low, their golden coats blending seamlessly with the dry stalks. Working together, they coordinate silent ambushes, relying on patience and teamwork. Solitary leopards, masters of stealth, stalk through the undergrowth, using shadows and silence to approach their quarry undetected. When the hunt is over and the predators have fed, the next wave of life arrives. Hyenas, with powerful jaws and relentless stamina, break open bones and consume what others leave behind. Vultures descend in swirling flocks, their sharp beaks stripping flesh with ruthless efficiency. Even after the scavengers depart, decomposer insects, beetles, maggots and ants move in, breaking down the last scraps of tissue and bone. Their tireless work returns vital nutrients to the soil, closing the loop and nourishing the next generation of plants. Every strand in this web is vital. Energy and nutrients flow upward from the mud, through plants and herbivores, to predators and scavengers, and finally back to the earth. Each interaction, whether a fleeting chase or a slow decomposition, propels the cycle forward, ensuring the survival of countless species. The Luangwa Valley's rhythm is shaped by the seasons. In the dry months, waterholes shrink, drawing animals together and intensifying the struggle for survival. Predators and prey are forced into close quarters, and every drink becomes a risk. When the rains return, the landscape transforms. Floodplains swell, grasses flourish, and life surges back in abundance. The balance shifts, and the web adapts, resilient and ever-changing. In this living tapestry, every creature, whether hidden in the mud or ruling the plains, plays a unique and irreplaceable role. The Luangwa's food web is a masterpiece of connection and adaptation, where survival depends on the delicate interplay of countless lives, each thread woven into the enduring fabric of the wild. The Luangwa Valley, in the grip of the dry season, becomes a vast arena where survival is a daily contest. The once lush grasslands are now brittle and sun-bleached, the air shimmering with heat. Dust swirls around the hooves of migrating herds, and every step across the cracked earth is a gamble. Will there be water ahead, or only more thirst? Impalas and puku, their coats dusty and eyes alert, move with purpose through the sparse shade of acacia trees. Each mouthful of grass is hard-won, plucked from the last green islands that cling to life in the shadow of thorny branches. Their herds are tightly knit, every animal attuned to the faintest rustle, a sign of food, or perhaps a predator lying in wait. Towering above the plains, elephants lead their families on arduous treks that can span entire valleys. Guided by the matriarch's memory, they navigate invisible trails etched into their minds by generations past. Their trunks sweep the ground, searching for hidden moisture, while their massive feet break open the crusted soil, sometimes revealing a precious trickle of water beneath. For the youngest calves, the journey is a test of both strength and trust. Each day they learn to read the subtle cues of the adults, the shift of an ear, the pause at a certain tree, the scent of water carried on a faint breeze. Their survival depends on the wisdom of the herd and the unspoken lessons passed down with every step. Baboons, ever resourceful, scatter across the savannah in coordinated bands. Their sharp eyes scan the ground for the smallest sign of sustenance, an overlooked root, a cluster of seeds, or the glint of an insect's wing. Social bonds are their strength. While some forage, others keep watch, their calls echoing through the dry air. Their diet is as varied as the land is unforgiving. Baboons pry open tough pods, dig for tubers with nimble fingers, and snatch up beetles and grubs hidden beneath stones. This adaptability is their shield against hunger, allowing them to thrive where others might falter. Vigilance is constant. Sentinels perch on termite mounds or low branches, scanning the horizon for the flicker of movement that signals danger. A single alarm call can send the troop scrambling for safety, the urgency of their voices rippling outward to every creature within earshot. Sometimes it is the baboon's sharp eyes that break the silence of an ambush. A lioness, muscles coiled and eyes fixed on her quarry, is betrayed by a sudden warning cry. The prey scatters, the hunt is lost, and the delicate balance between predator and prey is reset once more. Across the savannah, this network of vigilance binds species together. Impalas freeze, ears twitching at the baboon's call. Birds take flight, their alarm notes adding to the chorus. Each animal reads the signals of its neighbours, weaving a tapestry of shared awareness that stretches from the smallest bird to the largest antelope. In these unforgiving months, alliances form out of necessity. Wildebeest, impalas and zebras merge into mixed herds, their combined senses offering a greater chance of detecting both danger and opportunity. Each species brings its own strengths: keen eyesight, acute hearing, or the ability to scent water from afar. As the sun beats down and water holes shrink to muddy puddles, the pressure mounts. Herds gather at the last remaining sources, their bodies pressed close, eyes wary. Competition is fierce, but so is the unspoken truce. Predators and prey alike must drink, if only for a moment, side by side. In Luangwa, adaptation is the currency of survival. Every animal, from the nimble antelope to the mighty elephant, is shaped by the demands of this ever-shifting wilderness. Their constant search for food, for water, for safety defines their existence, forging a resilience as enduring as the land itself. High above the valleys, where the air thins and the world narrows to a spine of stone, the alpine ibex claims its throne. These extraordinary creatures are sculpted by the mountains themselves, every muscle, every instinct honed for survival in a realm where only the most adept endure. The ibex's silhouette, crowned with sweeping horns, is a living testament to the wild majesty of the Alps. Their hooves are masterpieces of natural engineering, split, flexible and rimmed with a hard, grippy edge. Each step is calculated, each movement deliberate, as they ascend sheer rock faces that would defeat almost any other animal. The ibex's ability to balance on ledges no wider than a few centimetres is not just impressive, it is essential, a daily negotiation with gravity and risk. When winter's grip loosens and the rut arrives, the silence of the peaks is shattered by the thunderous clash of horns. Rival males, driven by ancient instincts, engage in fierce contests of strength and endurance. Each collision echoes across the slopes, a raw display of power and determination. These battles are not merely for dominance, they are the crucible in which the future of the herd is forged. For the youngest ibexes, life begins with a daunting challenge. Within days of birth, they must follow their mothers along perilous trails, learning to read the subtle language of the rocks. Every stumble is a lesson, every leap a test of courage. Under the vigilant gaze of their mothers, these kids develop the agility and confidence that will one day make them true masters of the heights. But the mountains, for all their grandeur, are not without peril. Red foxes, cunning and patient, prowl the rocky slopes, their eyes ever watchful for a moment of weakness. For a vulnerable calf, a single misstep can mean disaster. Yet the ibex's nimbleness and acute senses often turn the tables, transforming the mountain's labyrinthine terrain into a fortress that few predators can breach. The mountains themselves are both relentless adversary and steadfast ally. Blizzards sweep across the ridges, avalanches thunder down the slopes, and icy winds cut to the bone. Yet within this chaos, the ibex finds sanctuary. Hidden ledges, sheltered alcoves, and secret routes known only to those born of the mountains. Generations of wisdom are etched into every migration, every seasonal movement, ensuring the herd's survival through the harshest trials. Here, survival is a symphony of strength, adaptability, and intelligence. The ibex's social bonds are as vital as their physical prowess. Each member of the herd relies on the collective memory and vigilance of the group. Together, they navigate the ever-changing landscape, adapting to new threats and opportunities with remarkable resilience. In this world of extremes, the alpine ibex stands as a symbol of nature's ingenuity, a true master of the mountains, perfectly attuned to the wild, untamed heights it calls home. Every day is a testament to their endurance, their adaptability, and their unbreakable bond with the ancient peaks that shape their destiny. In the heart of Luangwa, the savannah pulses with a living energy, each blade of grass and every shadow telling a story of survival. Here, the boundaries between predator and prey are drawn not by lines, but by instinct, timing, and the ever-shifting fortunes of the wild. The air is thick with anticipation, as every creature, whether hunter or hunted, plays a part in a drama that unfolds with the rising and setting of the sun. Concealed by the golden grasses, a leopard becomes nearly invisible, its rosette-patterned coat blending seamlessly with the dappled light. Every movement is calculated, every step silent. The impalas graze nearby, their ears flicking at the faintest rustle. The leopard's patience is unwavering, its senses tuned to the rhythm of the herd, waiting for the precise moment when opportunity and vulnerability align. Suddenly, the calm shatters. The leopard explodes from cover, muscles rippling as it gives chase. Dust swirls beneath pounding paws. A warthog, momentarily separated from its kin, becomes the focus of the hunt. The leopard's pursuit is relentless, each leap and bound a testament to its power and precision. In a heartbeat, the outcome is decided. For the leopard, a meal. for the warthog the end of its journey. This is the harsh arithmetic of the savannah, where every success is balanced by loss, but even the most formidable hunter is never beyond danger. As the leopard crouches to drink, the surface of the river betrays nothing. Beneath, a Nile crocodile waits, ancient and patient. In a sudden eruption, jaws snap inches from the leopard's muzzle, a stark reminder that in Luangwa the roles of hunter and hunted can reverse in an instant. Every sip of water is a calculated risk, every moment of respite shadowed by peril. Across the plains, this cycle of pursuit and evasion is ceaseless. Herds of impalas, ever vigilant, scatter at the faintest hint of danger. Their synchronized flight is a spectacle of agility and awareness, each animal relying on the collective senses of the group. The chase is not merely a contest of speed, but a test of perception and reaction, where survival favors those who can anticipate the unseen. Predators, by thinning the ranks of the herbivores, prevent the grasslands from being stripped bare. This restraint allows the vegetation to regenerate, supporting a mosaic of life that stretches from the tiniest insects to the largest elephants. The health of the land is written in the patterns of grazing and hunting, each species contributing to the resilience of the ecosystem. In this world, awareness is everything. Eyes gleam with intelligence and caution, scanning the horizon for the slightest movement. Ears swivel, nostrils flare, and muscles remain coiled, ready to spring into action. Every encounter, whether a tense standoff or a fleeting glance, sharpens instincts, forging creatures that are perfectly attuned to the demands of their environment. The savannah is a crucible of adaptation. Under brooding skies, animals display remarkable strategies. Some blend into the landscape, others rely on speed or strength, and many form alliances within their species. Droughts parch the earth, seasons shift unpredictably, and the competition for resources intensifies. Only those who can adjust to these relentless changes endure, their survival a testament to the power of adaptation. Vigilance is the currency of life. Each heartbeat is measured, each glance a calculation. The tall grasses conceal both threat and opportunity, and every animal, whether predator or prey, must remain alert, for a single moment of inattention can mean the difference between life and death. Yet, beneath the ever-present tension, a fragile harmony persists. As dawn breaks over Luangwa, the silhouettes of animals move across the horizon, each one a vital part of the whole. The balance is delicate, maintained by countless interactions, subtle and overt, that weave together the tapestry of life. Conflict and cooperation exist side by side, shaping a landscape where every species has its place. But this equilibrium faces mounting challenges. Shifting weather patterns bring unpredictable rains and prolonged droughts. The landscape transforms with each season, demanding new strategies from every inhabitant. Still, the wild endures, its creatures adapting, evolving, and persisting against the odds. In Luangwa, the story of survival is written anew each day, a testament to the resilience and complexity of life. The delicate balance of the savannah is its greatest secret, a marvel of nature's design, and a reminder of the interconnectedness that sustains all who call this place home. As the sun dips beneath the horizon, the Luangwa savannah is bathed in a fleeting glow, an ethereal transition where day surrenders to night. The air cools, and the golden grasses shimmer in the last vestiges of light, signalling the end of one world and the awakening of another. Nightfall cloaks the plains in deep indigo, and the familiar landscape is transformed. The moon rises, casting a silvery sheen across the grasslands, while distant acacia trees become dark silhouettes against the star-studded sky. The temperature drops, and a hush settles over the earth, broken only by the first tentative calls of nocturnal life. In this shadowed realm, creatures adapted to darkness emerge from their daytime refuges. Their movements are cautious, their senses sharpened by necessity. The savannah, so open and exposed by day, now offers a labyrinth of concealment, every bush, every hollow, a potential hiding place or hunting ground. A civet cat glides through the undergrowth, its slender body weaving between tangled roots and fallen branches. The civet's black and white coat is perfectly suited for the dappled moonlight, rendering it nearly invisible to all but the most perceptive eyes. With each step, the civet pauses to sniff the cool earth, its sensitive nose detecting the faintest traces of insects, ripe fruit, or the scurrying of a mouse. Its padded feet make no sound, and its whiskers twitch as it navigates the darkness, ever alert for both prey and predators. High above, bush babies spring from branch to branch, their leaps impossibly precise. Their enormous luminous eyes gather every scrap of starlight, allowing them to spot the tiniest insect or the glistening sap of an acacia tree. Their agile bodies twist mid-air, landing silently on rough bark. With nimble fingers they scrape sweet gum from the trees, pausing only to snatch a moth fluttering too close. The night air is alive with their soft chirrups, and the rustle of leaves disturbed by their passage. Beneath the ancient baobab, a porcupine stirs. Its quills catch the moonlight as it shuffles from its burrow, nose twitching, eyes blinking against the darkness. The porcupine's bristling armour is both shield and warning, each quill poised to deter would-be attackers. It roots through leaf litter, gnawing on fallen marula fruit and fibrous roots, its powerful incisors working tirelessly. Every sound is scrutinized, every scent analyzed, as it forages under the constant threat of unseen predators. Out on the open plain, a spotted hyena prowls with relentless purpose. Its nose sweeps the ground, deciphering the invisible trails left by prey and rivals alike. The hyena's gait is steady, its muscles coiled for sudden pursuit or defense. Suddenly the silence is shattered by the hyena's chilling laughter, a complex language of whoops and cackles that ripple across the night. These calls mark territory, summon allies and warn intruders, while the hyena's formidable jaws are ready to crush bone and scavenge what the day's hunters have left behind. In shallow pools, the African bullfrog reigns supreme. Its squat, armoured body is perfectly adapted for the muddy banks and cool water, where it waits in ambush for unsuspecting prey. The night vibrates with the deep, resonant croaks of male bullfrogs. Their calls pulse through the darkness, each note a challenge to rivals and an invitation to potential mates. The water's surface trembles with the force of their voices, and the air is thick with anticipation. Above the pools, insects swarm in dizzying numbers, katydids, crickets and moths weaving intricate patterns in the moonlight. Their chorus is a constant hum, a living soundtrack that draws the attention of bats swooping overhead, their wings slicing silently through the air as they hunt with pinpoint precision. Even the mighty elephants are transformed by the night. Their massive forms move with surprising stealth, shadows gliding across the open plain as they navigate ancient pathways between waterholes. The herd's progress is marked by the soft thud of feet on earth and the gentle swish of trunks. In the moonlight they appear almost spectral, ghostly silhouettes that pass silently through the darkness, guided by memory and the promise of water. Communication is subtle and profound. Low-frequency rumbles vibrate through the ground, carrying messages of reassurance, warning, or discovery. Trunks entwine in greeting, and ears flutter in silent conversation, all but invisible to the casual observer. Across the Luangwa, the night is a living tapestry, each thread a different species, each movement a story of adaptation and survival. The savannah pulses with hidden activity, a world as complex and dynamic as the one revealed by daylight. Nocturnal creatures possess extraordinary adaptations, eyes that pierce the gloom, ears that catch the faintest rustle, coats that blend seamlessly with shadow. A leopard glides unseen, its rosetted fur dissolving into the darkness as it stalks its next meal. For many, darkness is both shield and snare. Some animals melt into the shadows to evade predators, while others use the cover of night to launch their own silent hunts. Every moment is a delicate balance between risk and reward. Each shifting shadow tells a tale of stealthy approach, sudden flight, or the relentless pursuit of sustenance. Tracks pressed into the soft earth are the only evidence of these nightly dramas, soon to be erased by wind or the passage of time. As the first blush of dawn tinges the sky, the nocturnal cast retreats. They vanish into burrows, thickets and hollows, leaving behind only faint tracks and the lingering echoes of their nighttime endeavours. The savannah's rhythm never ceases. It simply shifts. As the sun rises, diurnal creatures stir, and the stage is set for a new cycle of life, struggle, and survival. For those who master the darkness, survival is an art, written in silence, shadow, and the subtle language of the night. Their secrets remain hidden, revealed only to those who truly watch and listen. Beneath the endless sweep of golden grasses and the scattered silhouettes of acacia trees, the Luangwa savannah conceals a labyrinth of hidden worlds, realms rarely glimpsed, yet vital to the pulse of this wild landscape. Here, at ground level, a mosaic of microhabitats flourishes. Each patch of shade, every tuft of grass, and every hollow beneath a stone forms a miniature universe, supporting a web of life as complex as the vast plains above. Scattered across the savannah, these secret sanctuaries, towering termite mounds, labyrinthine burrows, and elusive waterholes, anchor the daily drama of survival, offering shelter, food, and water to those who know where to look. Termite mounds rise from the earth like ancient citadels, their sun-baked walls casting long shadows across the grass. Each mound is a testament to the tireless labour of its builders. Crafted grain by grain, these structures are marvels of natural engineering, ventilated towers that maintain a delicate balance of temperature and humidity, regardless of the searing heat or chilling night. Deep within, millions of termites toil in perpetual darkness. They tend to gardens of fungi, cultivated on chewed plant matter, and orchestrate a symphony of movement, each individual playing a precise role in the colony's survival. Above ground, the mounds become bustling oases. Their warmth and shelter attract a parade of visitors, each drawn by the promise of food, safety, or a vantage point over the plains. Monitor lizards sprawl atop the sun-drenched clay, soaking in the morning heat, while ground hornbills stride purposefully at the base, probing for insects disturbed by the mound's activity. When a mound is abandoned, it rarely remains empty for long. Warthog families slip inside, seeking refuge from predators and the midday sun, transforming these fortresses into cool, secure dens. Beneath the surface, a hidden network of burrows winds through the soil, arteries of safety and survival, invisible to the untrained eye. These subterranean retreats shield their inhabitants from the savannah's extremes, offering cool respite during the day's heat and warmth when the night air turns cold. Aardvarks, with powerful claws and sensitive snouts, carve out spacious chambers in their relentless search for ants and termites. Once abandoned, these tunnels become coveted homes for porcupines or bustling mongoose families, each adapting the space to their own needs. In the cool, silent dark, a pangolin curls into a tight ball, its armoured scales forming an impenetrable shield. Here it rests undisturbed, waiting for the safety of night to emerge and forage. The soil itself teems with life. Dung beetles roll their precious cargo through narrow tunnels, centipedes weave between roots, and burrowing scorpions lie in wait, each playing a silent, indispensable role in recycling nutrients and maintaining the health of the land. Scattered like jewels across the savannah, hidden waterholes pulse with life. Some are veiled by dense vegetation, others lie exposed, their surfaces shimmering in the midday sun. A few are permanent, sustained by ancient underground springs. Others are fleeting, appearing only after the rains, their presence a brief but vital boon for thirsty wanderers. At first light, sandgrouse and doves gather in hushed flocks, sipping quickly before vanishing into the grass. Terrapins emerge to bask at the muddy edge, their shells glistening in the dawn. Beneath the surface, a hidden world thrives. Aquatic insects dart among submerged roots, amphibians lurk in the shallows, and fish feast on the bounty of larvae, each link in a chain that sustains birds, mammals, and reptiles alike. In the parched months, the roots of distant trees stretch ever deeper, seeking out these hidden reservoirs. Their silent quest for water sustains the giants of the savannah, even when the surface appears lifeless. These microhabitats, mounds, burrows, waterholes, are the engine rooms of the savannah. They drive cycles of renewal, resilience, and adaptation, ensuring that life persists through drought, flood, and fire. Each supports a distinct community, from the smallest invertebrates to the largest mammals. Together they form a living tapestry, interconnected, ever-changing, and essential to the survival of all. In the Luangwa, survival is not simply a contest of strength or speed. It is a matter of finding sanctuary in these hidden corners, secret worlds where life endures, nurtured by the earth and sustained by every drop of water, every grain of soil, and every shadow cast beneath the savannah sun. As dawn breaks over the Luangwa Valley, the golden light reveals a landscape in flux. The air is thick with anticipation, for the shifting seasons signal a profound transformation not only on the ground, but high above, where the sky becomes a living highway for countless wings. With the first hints of change, the heavens erupt in motion. Flocks gather in their thousands, forming swirling ribbons that stretch across the horizon. These are the Great Migrations, an ancient ritual that binds the Luangwa to distant lands, threading this wild heart of Africa into a continent-wide tapestry of life. Each year, birds of every shape and hue answer the call. Some, like the barn swallows and sand martins, have journeyed from the far reaches of Europe and Asia, crossing deserts and seas in a feat of endurance that defies imagination. They traverse vast mountain ranges and arid wastelands, guided by the stars and the subtle pull of the Earth's magnetic field, their bodies honed by millennia for these epic odysseys. Others, like the quelliers and bishops, are attuned to the rhythms of the rains. As the first drops fall and seeds begin to swell, these flocks rise in synchrony, their movements orchestrated by the invisible hand of weather and abundance. Above the winding Luangwa River, the air shimmers with life. The river's serpentine path becomes a beacon, drawing travellers from across the continent to its fertile banks. Among the most spectacular arrivals are the carmine bee-eaters. In a sudden, breathtaking wave, they descend upon the riverbanks, their scarlet plumage igniting the landscape with colour. Their wings catch the morning sun, flashing crimson and rose against the pale sky as they wheel and dive in perfect unison. Along the sandy banks, colonies form, a bustling metropolis of tunnels and burrows. Each pair carves a home into the sheer cliffs, a safe haven for their precious eggs. With tireless precision, they excavate deep into the sand, creating a labyrinth of nests where their chicks will hatch, sheltered from predators and the relentless sun. For months, the air above the river is alive with their acrobatics. Bee-eaters swoop and twist, snatching insects mid-flight with astonishing agility, their calls echoing across the water. Their relentless hunting keeps swarms of insects in check, preventing outbreaks that could devastate the plains below. Each bird is a guardian, maintaining the delicate balance of this ecosystem. As the rains intensify, another traveller arrives, the woodland kingfisher. Drawn from the forests of Central Africa, it appears with the first storm clouds, a harbinger of renewal. Its electric blue feathers shimmer in the wet season's light, and its piercing call rings out, announcing the return of plenty. The kingfisher's arrival is a signal to all. The time of abundance has come. It joins a vibrant assembly, resident weavers, storks and rollers, each species adding its own colour and song to the chorus of the renewed savannah. Together they weave through the dripping foliage, probing for insects newly awakened by the rains, their movements a dance of survival and opportunity. Not all migrations are epic in scale. Some are measured in mere kilometres, as herons and egrets quietly follow the retreating waters, their long legs tracing the shrinking margins of ponds and water-holes. These elegant hunters adapt to the changing landscape, foraging in the shallows for fish and amphibians left behind by the receding flood. Meanwhile, the red-billed queleas, sometimes called the feathered locusts, move in vast swirling clouds, their numbers so great they darken the sky as they chase the ripening seeds across the grasslands. Every movement, every arrival sends ripples through the food web. The sudden influx of birds transforms the savannah, drawing the attention of predators and reshaping the fortunes of countless other creatures. Raptors, keen-eyed and relentless, patrol the skies. They exploit the abundance, diving into flocks with lethal precision, their presence a constant threat to the unwary. As dusk falls, crowned eagles and bat-hawks emerge, their silhouettes gliding silently through the twilight, hunting with unmatched skill. On the ground, slender monitor lizards scale trees and cliffs, raiding nests for eggs and chicks, their stealth and agility making them formidable nest predators. Yet, for all their adaptations, the journey is perilous. Storms sweep across the plains, battering wings and scattering flocks. Hunger and exhaustion claim the weakest, and the ever-watchful eyes of predators are never far. Many will not survive the ordeal, brought down by fatigue, fierce weather, or the talons of a waiting raptor. Only the strongest and most fortunate will complete the journey. For those that do, the rewards are immense. As they travel, these birds become agents of renewal, dispersing seeds, pollinating flowers, and breathing new life into the savannah. Their voracious appetites keep insect populations in check, preventing plagues that could strip the land bare. In their wake, they shape the very structure of the ecosystem, influencing which plants thrive and which animals prosper. Even their droppings play a vital role, enriching the soil with nutrients that spark a flush of new growth. In the weeks that follow, the savanna bursts into life, fresh grass and tender shoots rising to feed the herds that depend on this annual renewal. The spectacle of migration is more than a fleeting wonder. It is the heartbeat of the Luangwa, a force that shapes the destiny of every creature beneath these skies. With every wing beat, birds connect distant continents, bridging ecosystems and renewing the land with their passage. Their journeys weave together the fates of creatures great and small, from the tiniest insect to the largest grazer, each life touched by the rhythm of wings overhead. With every arrival and departure, the savanna is reminded that survival is a story written not just on the earth, but in the sky above. The animals below look up, their lives intertwined with the comings and goings of these tireless travellers. For in the Luangwa, survival is not only a matter of what lies beneath the grass or beside the river, but also of what soars above, an endless ballet of wings across the wilderness. Beneath the tangled grass and scattered leaves of the Luangwa, a hidden multitude stirs. Insects, often overlooked yet ceaselessly industrious, are the unsung architects of this wild domain. Their world is a labyrinth of miniature marvels, where every movement shapes the fate of the savanna. With astonishing precision, ants tunnel beneath the earth, weaving intricate networks that aerate the soil. Weaver ants string leaves together high in the canopy, their silk threads binding the green architecture above. Each nest, each burrow, is a testament to their collective ingenuity. As the first rays of dawn spill across the plains, a shimmer of wings rises from the dew-laden grass. Swarms of flying insects, delicate yet resilient, dance above wildflowers, their bodies catching the golden light. Bees, butterflies and hoverflies drift from blossom to blossom, their legs dusted with pollen. Each visit is a silent transaction, a vital exchange that ensures the renewal of life across the savanna. These pollinators are the silent matchmakers of the wild, orchestrating the next generation of acacias, marulas, and the endless tapestry of grasses. Without their tireless work, the savanna's floral abundance would wither. Their efforts ripple outward, fueling the food web. Grazers like wildebeest and impala depend on the lush grasses and flowering plants that insects help propagate, their survival intertwined with these tiny labourers. Beneath the surface, a different drama unfolds. Here, in the cool darkness, insects carve out hidden worlds, tunnels and chambers that become lifelines for the ecosystem above. Termites and dung beetles toil unseen, breaking down the remains of the savanna's giants. Their relentless work transforms waste into nourishment, recycling nutrients that would otherwise be lost. Termite mounds rise from the earth like ancient fortresses, each one built grain by thousands of tireless workers. These structures are more than homes. They are engines of renewal, breathing life into the soil. Inside, termites break down dead wood and plant matter, releasing nutrients that enrich the earth. Their hidden industry sustains the very foundation of the savanna's fertility. Dung beetles, meanwhile, roll their precious cargo across the plains, burying it deep beneath the surface. Each buried ball is a promise of new life, a pocket of fertility waiting to bloom. Their efforts fertilize the earth, nurturing tender shoots that will one day feed the herds. In this endless cycle, nothing is wasted. Everything is transformed. Yet the insect world is not without its dangers. Predators stalk the grasses, their movements silent and precise. Praying mantises, masters of disguise, wait motionless among the stems, their limbs poised for the perfect strike. Assassin bugs and antlions craft ingenious traps in the sandy soil, while driver ants surge across the forest floor in relentless waves, consuming all in their path. Each predator, each prey, plays a role in maintaining balance. No single species dominates, for the web is tightly woven and fiercely regulated. The diversity is dazzling. Jewel beetles flash iridescent colours in the sun, while stick insects vanish against the stems, invisible to all but the keenest eyes. Some insects wear warning colours, advertising their defences. Others rely on perfect camouflage, melting into bark and leaf to escape detection. Their lives are fleeting, measured in days or weeks, but their influence endures. Through drought and flood, fire and renewal, insects adapt, persist, and shape the rhythm of the land. Insects sustain the Luangwa in ways both subtle and profound, their presence woven into every thread of the ecosystem's fabric. They pollinate, decompose, and regulate, bridging the worlds above and below, connecting the living and the dead, the seen and the unseen. Without them, the great migrations would falter, the herds would dwindle, and the mighty river would lose its lifeblood. The savannah's very heart would cease to beat. In the quiet persistence of these tiny creatures, the savannah finds its enduring strength, a foundation not of stone or bone, but of countless beating wings, tireless legs, and the relentless will to build, renew, and sustain. As the relentless dry season tightens its grip, a formidable force awakens across the Luangwa Valley. Fire sweeping in great undulating waves across the parched savannah. Flickering tongues of flame dart through brittle grasses, devouring the remnants of last season's growth. Smoke billows skyward, painting the horizon in shades of grey and orange as the fire's heat pulses through the land. To the uninitiated, these wildfires appear as agents of chaos, merciless, indiscriminate, and devastating. The landscape is momentarily stripped bare, the earth scorched and silent beneath a smoky veil. Yet in the heart of the savannah, fire is not merely an end, but a profound beginning. It is the catalyst for transformation, a vital heartbeat in the endless cycle of destruction and rebirth. For countless generations, the creatures of Luangwa have adapted to this rhythm. Antelope and birds move cautiously through the blackened aftermath, their instincts finely tuned to the opportunities that follow the flames. Beneath the surface, fire lilies lie in wait, dormant bulbs nestled deep in the soil, shielded from the inferno above. Their survival depends on the fire's cleansing touch, which clears away dense grasses and competing plants. In the days that follow, the charred earth erupts with colour. Brilliant red fire lilies burst forth, their petals vivid against the blackened ground, a living testament to resilience and adaptation. Grasses, too, are among the first to respond. From the ashes, delicate green shoots emerge, pushing through the blackened crust with astonishing speed. Their roots, safely insulated beneath the soil, channel energy into new growth. The resulting blades are lush, tender, and rich in nutrients, an irresistible draw for the savannah's grazers. Herds of zebra and wildebeest soon arrive, their movements guided by the promise of renewal. They graze eagerly, their presence a signal that the land is healing. Not all animals flee the fire's advance. Some, like impalas and warthogs, linger at the edge, alert but unafraid, knowing that opportunity often follows in the fire's wake. Above the flames, black kites wheel and dive, their sharp eyes scanning the scorched ground for insects and small creatures flushed from hiding. These raptors are masters of the fire, exploiting its chaos with precision. On the ground, hornbills stride purposefully through the ashes, probing for beetles and grubs exposed by the fire's passage. Each step uncovers new bounty, a feast born from destruction. Even the smallest architects of the savannah, the termites, seize their moment. Emerging from hidden tunnels, they gather charred plant matter, breaking it down and returning vital nutrients to the soil. The very shape of the landscape is altered by fire's touch. Patches of burned and unburned vegetation create a mosaic, each section at a different stage of renewal. Dense thickets are thinned, allowing sunlight to reach the ground for the first time in months. Seeds that require intense heat to germinate now burst into life, their growth triggered by the fire's cleansing energy. Fallen logs and woody debris, once obstacles to new growth, are reduced to fine ash. This ash, rich in minerals, nourishes the next generation of plants, fueling a surge of productivity. In this way, fire acts as a guardian of the grasslands, halting the advance of encroaching bush and limiting the spread of disease among plants. Yet the equilibrium is fragile. The difference between renewal and ruin is measured in the frequency and intensity of the flames. When fire returns too often or burns with unnatural ferocity, the land is left barren, its regenerative power diminished, its promise of renewal lost. But when fire moves in harmony with the rains and the ancient rhythms of the land, it becomes a sculptor, refining, renewing and sustaining the wild heart of Luangwa. In the aftermath, life surges back with vigour. Green shoots and delicate flowers emerge from the ashes, and the savannah teems with animal life, each species playing its part in the unfolding drama of renewal. The landscape is transformed, lush, vibrant and alive, where once there was only smoke and flame. The scars of fire become the foundation for abundance. This is the paradox at the heart of the savannah. In the wake of fire, the seeds of tomorrow seize their chance, and the cycle of life begins anew, stronger, richer, and more resilient than before. Beneath the shimmering surface of the Luangwa River, a hidden universe unfolds, one that is as complex and dynamic as the world above, yet rarely glimpsed by the eyes of land dwellers. Here the water is alive with movement, colour and silent drama, each current carrying the stories of countless creatures. In these cool, shadowed depths, life flourishes in astonishing diversity. Fish of every shape and hue dart between swaying aquatic plants, their scales catching the fractured sunlight that filters down from above. Amphibians glide silently, their skin shimmering with moisture, perfectly attuned to the river's subtle rhythms. Among the labyrinth of submerged roots and branches, schools of silver barbs move as one, each fish reading the minute signals of its neighbours, twisting and turning in flawless unison. Their bodies flash like quicksilver as they slip through the shadows, ever wary of the sudden shadow of a kingfisher or the silent approach of a lurking predator. On the riverbed, ancient armoured catfish patrol with slow, deliberate movements. Their bodies, protected by bony plates, glide over the mud as their sensitive barbels sweep the substrate, detecting the faintest tremor of a hidden worm or crustacean. These living relics are both hunters and scavengers, vital to the river's balance. As dusk settles, the deeper channels become the domain of the African tigerfish. Sleek and muscular, with jaws lined by razor-sharp teeth, these formidable hunters slice through the water in pursuit of smaller fish. Their attacks are swift and decisive, a flash of silver and a burst of bubbles marking the end of the chase. In the river's tranquil backwaters, amphibians find sanctuary. Foam nest frogs, delicate architects, anchor their pearly egg masses to overhanging reeds, the frothy nests protecting their young from hungry mouths below. Nearby, bullfrogs emerge from the mud, their deep, resonant calls echoing across the water as the breeding season begins. Along the sunlit margins, swarms of tadpoles transform the shallows into a living mosaic. They wriggle and feed in dense clusters, their tiny bodies filtering nutrients from the water, each one a promise of metamorphosis and the next generation of river life. As the relentless dry season advances, pools shrink and the river's embrace tightens. Some frogs, sensing the change, burrow deep into the cooling mud. Encased in a protective cocoon of mucus, they enter a state of suspended animation, their bodies waiting patiently for the life-giving rains to return. Yet, beneath the drama of fish and frogs, it is the invertebrates that quietly sustain this aquatic world. Their numbers are vast, their roles essential, forming the base of the river's intricate food web. Mayfly nymphs cling to submerged stones, their delicate gills fluttering as they filter organic particles from the current. Above them, water beetles skate across the surface, their legs creating ripples that shimmer in the fading light, each movement a signal in the language of water. Caddisfly larvae, ingenious engineers, gather grains of sand and fragments of plants to build protective cases. Anchored against the current, they remain hidden from predators, their tiny bodies shielded by the river's own materials. Freshwater shrimp and snails graze tirelessly on algae, their constant feeding keeping the rocks clean and recycling nutrients. These small creatures are the river's silent custodians, ensuring the clarity and health of the water. Every inch of this submerged world pulses with life. Predators and prey, builders and grazers all interact in a delicate balance, their fates intertwined in a web more intricate than any spun above the surface. With the arrival of the rains, the river swells and spills across the floodplain. Eggs and larvae are swept far and wide, carried by the floodwaters to new habitats, ensuring the dispersal and survival of countless species. As the waters retreat, only the most resilient endure in shrinking pools. Fish and amphibians clinging to life in isolated pockets, their survival a testament to adaptation and endurance. The story of the Luangwa is not only written in the dust of the plains or the shade of the trees, but also in the silent, ever-changing depths of the river. Here, beneath the surface, the true pulse of the savannah beats on. In these shadowy waters, ancient rhythms persist, unseen yet essential, sustaining the wild, intricate tapestry of life that flourishes above and below the surface. As the Luangwa River breaks free from its banks, a remarkable transformation sweeps across the savannah. The floodplain awakens, vast, shimmering and alive with promise. Each year, this seasonal inundation creates a living mosaic. Pools and channels snake through the grasslands, bringing with them a surge of nutrients and new beginnings. Here, in the ephemeral wetlands, a new cast of life emerges. Aquatic grasses unfurl like emerald ribbons, their blades swaying gently in the slow-moving water. Tiny bubbles rise from submerged soil as dormant seeds, long buried in the mud, sense the touch of moisture and burst into growth. The plain is quickly carpeted with fresh greenery, drawing in animals from every corner of the savannah. For the grazers, this is a time of abundance. Herds of puku and impala venture cautiously onto the waterlogged fields, their hooves sinking into the soft, forgiving ground. With every mouthful of tender shoots, they fuel the pulse of life that sweeps through the floodplain. Along the margins, secretive sitatunga wade silently, their splayed hooves adapted to the slippery, shifting mud. These elusive antelope vanish into the reeds at the faintest hint of danger, leaving only a ripple behind. The floodplain is also a sanctuary for the young. Hidden among the reeds, newborns take their first tentative steps, shielded from predators by the dense cover and the maze of water channels. Here, crocodile hatchlings slip into the safety of shallow pools, their tiny scales gleaming in the morning light. Each one is a survivor of the river's ancient lineage, beginning life in a world shaped by water and change. Above, the sky is transformed by the arrival of migratory flocks. Great white pelicans descend in sweeping formations, their wings casting fleeting shadows over the flooded grasslands. With synchronized precision, they dip their bills into the water, scooping up fish drawn into the shallows by the receding floods. Nearby, jacanas tiptoe across floating vegetation, their elongated toes balancing delicately on lily pads as they search for insects and snails. In this fleeting season, the floodplain becomes a cradle of diversity, its boundaries shifting with each passing day. Frogs chorus from every puddle, their voices rising in a jubilant symphony. Dragonflies dart and hover, their iridescent wings catching the sun as they hunt above the mirrored surface. Yet beneath this abundance, the clock is always ticking. As the waters gradually withdraw, the floodplain contracts, its pools shrinking beneath the relentless sun. Those who thrived in the wet must adapt or move on, their fates tied to the river's eternal ebb and flow. It is here, in the rhythm of flood and retreat, that the Luangwa reveals its deepest secret, the power of renewal. Year after year, the river breathes life into the land, forging connections between water, soil, and every living thing. And in this perpetual cycle, the pulse of the floodplain sustains the wild heart of the savannah, resilient, ever-changing, and profoundly alive. Dawn unveils a fresh canvas across the Luangwa floodplain, the moist earth imprinted with countless stories. Here, in the soft sand and mudded banks, the true language of the savannah is written, not in words, but in tracks. Each delicate impression is a silent testimony, a fleeting message left behind by the unseen travellers of the night. A single line of lion paw prints, broad and resolute, traces the edge of a receding pool. Their stride speaks of confidence, the subtle drag of a tail revealing a pause, a momentary survey of the awakening landscape. Intertwined with these, the smaller, lighter indentations of a civet zigzag between tufts of grass, their pattern betraying a restless search for food beneath the cover of darkness. Close to the water's edge, the three-toed prints of a hippo mark a well-worn path, the deep grooves evidence of nightly forays from the cooling embrace of the river to the lush grazing grounds. Alongside, the delicate splayed hooves of impala form a hasty scatter, a silent echo of a startled flight from a hidden predator. In the shallows, the intricate trails of waterbirds overlap in a complex tapestry. The webbed tracks of spur-winged geese intersect with the needle-thin lines etched by jacana toes, each movement carefully measured to avoid sinking into the yielding mud. Even the smallest creatures leave their mark. The meandering tunnels of beetles and the stippled footprints of frogs pressed into the silty banks, soon to be erased by the next rain or the gentle sweep of a tail. These tracks are more than mere imprints. They are clues to the delicate choreography of survival. A broken reed, a trampled patch of grass, a single feather, each sign reveals the drama of life and death played out in the hush of dawn. For those who know how to read them, the floodplain is an open book, its pages turned with every passing hour. As the sun climbs higher and the ground hardens, these stories begin to fade. Yet, for a brief moment, the earth remembers. The language of tracks, written anew each day, weaves together the destinies of predator and prey, wanderer and resident, binding all who call the Luangwa home in an unspoken dialogue older than the river itself. In this realm, even silence is alive with meaning, and the land keeps its own record, one that endures as long as footprints linger on the savannah's ever-changing stage. Beneath the tangled canopy and along the river's winding bends, life in Luangwa is shaped not only by rivalry but by an intricate alliance, one forged in the silent language of mutual need. Here, the dance of mutualism unfolds in the most unexpected places, weaving together species whose fates are delicately entwined. At the river's edge, a pod of hippos lazes in the shallows, their massive forms half submerged in the cooling water. But they are not alone. Dotted across leathery backs and nestled in the folds of thick skin, a flurry of red-billed oxpeckers busily search for sustenance. With swift, practiced movements, the birds probe for ticks and biting flies, plucking them from creases and wounds in the hippo's hides. Each beakful of parasites is a meal for the oxpecker and a relief for its lumbering host. Elsewhere, a stately giraffe stands motionless beneath a broad acacia, lowering its head in slow, deliberate movements. Tiny, fork-tailed drongos perch along its mane, darting in and out to snatch insects stirred by the giraffe's passage. The giraffe tolerates these fleeting visitors, its flicking ears a minor price for their vigilance against biting pests. In the shallows, crocodiles lie motionless, eyes barely above the surface. Even these ancient predators partake in the Luangwa's unwritten pact. Daring plovers tiptoe across armoured jaws, pecking at leeches and scraps of decaying flesh, while the crocodiles remain perfectly still, trusting in a truce as old as the river itself. This delicate choreography plays out across the floodplain, from the smallest warthog to the towering elephant. Each participant, whether feathered or furred, gains something vital: sustenance, protection, or respite from tormentors. In return, their hosts are freed from parasites and gnawing discomfort, their health quietly safeguarded by their avian allies. As the sun dips low, painting the landscape in burnished gold, these partnerships continue, unseen by most but indispensable to all. In the Luangwa, survival is not only a contest, but a collaboration. The dance of mutualism is a silent promise, renewed with every gentle peck and patient pause, that in the wild heart of Africa the bonds of coexistence are as essential as the river's flow. In the mosaic of the Luangwa, every patch of grass, every gnarled tree conceals more than meets the eye. Here a new dimension of the savannah's complexity unfolds, one defined by the silent strategies of predators and the elusive countermeasures of prey. This is not a simple contest of strength, but a perpetual game of anticipation and adaptation, where each participant shapes the destiny of the other. As the first light glimmers through the acacia canopy, a pride of lions stirs in the tall grass. Their golden coats ripple with muscle, moving as shadows among the reeds. Nearby, a dazzle of zebras grazes with apparent calm, yet their ears flicker at every rustle, their nostrils flaring for the faintest scent of danger. The zebra's stripes, a living camouflage, fracture their silhouettes. confusing would-be hunters in the shifting dawn. At the riverbank, a stealthy leopard melts into the dappled shade, its rosette-patterned pelt mirroring the broken light. Patient and precise, it stalks a troop of impalas whose every movement is dictated by vigilance. The impala's wide eyes and twitching tails relay silent warnings, their bodies primed to explode into a blur of motion at the first sign of pursuit. Above, a battler eagle circles on thermals, its keen gaze scanning for the slightest tremor in the undergrowth. For the rodents and hares below, survival depends on invisibility and the art of stillness, vanishing into burrows or freezing in the grass until the threat has passed. Even the crocodiles, ancient sentinels of the river, rely on patience and perfect timing. Motionless for hours, they wait for a moment of distraction, a slip, a stumble, before the water erupts in a flash of power. Yet this relentless contest is not chaos. It is the engine of balance. Every successful hunt, every narrow escape, ripples through the ecosystem. Predators cull the weak and the sick, shaping the herds and keeping disease in check. Prey, ever evolving, sharpen their senses and strategies, driving innovation in the dance of survival. In Luangwa, the architects of ambush and the masters of evasion are locked in an ancient dialogue, one that sculpts bodies, behaviours, and the very fabric of the wild. Through their silent interplay, the savannah thrives, each life a thread in the ever-evolving tapestry of resilience and adaptation. In the heart of Luangwa, survival often hinges not on speed or strength, but on the artful illusion of being something else entirely. Here, a less obvious strategy unfolds, one woven from deception and disguise. This is the realm of mimicry, where appearance and behaviour become powerful tools in the contest for life. Beneath a cluster of mopane leaves, a juvenile vine snake coils motionless. Its slender emerald body sways gently with the breeze, perfectly mimicking the stems it hides among. Unwary birds, searching for insects, pass within striking distance, never realizing the danger concealed in plain sight. The snake's mimicry is so precise that even the keen-eyed fork-tailed drongo, a master of detection, is fooled, proving that in Luangwa the best camouflage is often a living lie. Nearby, a leaf mimic, katydid, clings to a branch, its wings etched with the intricate veins and ragged edges of a weathered leaf. Predatory lizards search for prey, but the katydid remains invisible, shielded by its perfect imitation. Each twitch of its antennae is measured, blending seamlessly with the trembling foliage around it. This deception is not static. As seasons change and leaves wither, the katydid's coloration subtly shifts, ensuring its disguise is always up to date. In the shallows of the river, a young tilapia hovers above a bed of pebbles. Its scales shimmer with the same mottled hues as the river stones, rendering it nearly indistinguishable from its surroundings. As a heron stalks the water's edge, the fish freezes, becoming part of the landscape. The river's currents stir, but the tilapia remains undetected. Another victory for nature's illusionists. Even among the ants, deception reigns supreme. The velvet ant, a wasp in disguise, parades boldly across the sand, its bristled body painted in warning colours. Predators, mistaking it for a dangerous adversary, steer clear, unaware of the mimic's true identity. Throughout Luangwa, these masters of mimicry blur the boundaries between predator and prey, hunter and hunted. Their artful disguises are not mere tricks, but finely tuned adaptations, products of countless generations shaped by the pressures of the wild. In a world where being seen can mean death, the power to vanish is a triumph of evolution. Here, deception is not just a means of survival. It is a testament to the endless creativity of life on the floodplain. A silent performance, unfolding each day in the shadows and sunlight of Luangwa.